Welcome to Data War Room Asia live at the Cybersecurity Summit. I'm here with Mr. Freddy Tan, Director at AISP. Welcome, Mr. Freddy. Good afternoon. Before I start, maybe you'd like to introduce yourself for those people who don't know you. I'm sure some people do, but you've been around long enough. Please go ahead.
Yes, so I started my career in cybersecurity back in 1985. For 25 years, I was with end user environment. After which I left and I joined Microsoft as a chief security advisor for 6 years. After that, I left to join Singtel. Right, I was in Singtel for 4 years before I joined StarHub, and I was part of Ensign, right, which was a joint venture between StarHub and Temasek Holdings. Yes.
Okay, so that's a very, very long experience. But you said you joined in 1985.
Yes.
So how did you get involved in information security? 1985 was still early days for it.
Yes. So back then, where I was, alright, they started a new security unit called Computer Security Section. Right, and as a matter of fact, I was back then responsible, or rather, I was in a role of physical security. I was taking care of fences, lightings, intrusion detection systems, and being a very young person back then, it interests me to look into IT, computers. So back then we had the IBM mainframe. We didn't have any PCs at that point of time.
Right.
All right, and the very first PC that came about, as a matter of fact, was the Apple IIe.
Right.
Yes.
So since then, how much has information security changed?
Oh, so it has changed drastically. Right. When I first started my career in cybersecurity, cybersecurity was very much a physical security thing. You make sure that the cables are secured in metal trunkings. You make sure that storage media are accounted for. You put labels on tape drives. You make sure that you account for the tape drives, especially when they are transport to the backup site. Make sure that the tapes do not actually get detoured to a third-party location. So it's very physical security. I still remember I think it was in 1980. I think it was in 1988 where we first encountered the first virus, and it was actually the brain virus. All right, so it was a boot sector virus. Infected the boot sector of the startup. The floppy disk, the DOS floppy disk.
Yes.
So that was the first virus we had, and we had to use. Back then there were no antivirus, solutions. So we had to use utilities like Norton Utilities to essentially, to essentially replace where the virus actually interjects, into the boot sector, the sequence. And we had to replace it back, with the good code.
Sector, yeah.
Yes.
So, and today, cybersecurity today?
So cybersecurity today is I compared to what I was doing back then. It was just I would say a glass of water. Today is like the ocean. We call it the attack surface. The attack surface today is so huge. Unfortunately, being an attacker right now is much easier than being a defender.
Right.
In the past, if you want to have access to data in a data center, you have to break into the data center. Either that, or you have to be able to get onto the network, of that organization. Today, things are all everywhere. They are in the cloud. They are in the mobile machines. They are in the mobile telephones. They are everywhere. And attackers can choose to attack you either through various what we call vectors of attack, be it the network, the email, the browser. All right, so it's getting very challenging, I would say. All right, to be a cybersecurity professional.
So, you're director at AISP, right? Association of InfoSec Professionals. A lot of InfoSec technology and guidelines come from USA and Europe and the West. Do you think these are adapted enough for Asia, or does Asia have different challenges, given a large geography, different cultures, languages? How do you feel about this?
All right. So standards are important. I think it's very important for organizations in the world to operate on what I call common standards, because we all rely on the same technology today.
Right.
Be it Azure Cloud or Google or AWS, and having a common standard definitely would help. I think it's also very important because of what I call having that common body of knowledge. So having a common standard would actually help in the training and certification
Right.
of cybersecurity professionals. However, where it may differ is what I call the adoption of those standards. Generally, I would say that different economies have different tracks, and so there could be different focus and on certain guidelines or certain prescriptions in those standards.
Right. So do you think from an Asian context, from an Asian thought leadership, more can be done?
Yes, definitely. I think Asia being the we are not the early adopters of most IT solutions in the digitalization race. I think we're not as ahead as economies in the US and Europe. Definitely, we have the advantage that we can learn from them. All right, but we definitely have to catch up. We have to ensure that we don't make the same mistakes that these economies have made.
Right. So today, if I'm a young guy starting out in the cybersecurity world, what would your advice be?
Well, definitely finish your university first.
Okay.
All right, but while you are studying, get yourself involved in associations, all right, like AISP. Take up internships in organizations that have cybersecurity teams. All right. And lastly, all right, prepare yourself and learn, all right, to participate in various competitions in cybersecurity.
Last but not least, my final question to you: where do you see cybersecurity in 3 to 5 years from today?
I think we are moving into a new era, and that new era is all about having more automation. You're going to have more autonomous machines like driverless cars, driverless buses. We're going to see a lot more what I term as home-based medical services. All these would introduce new risks, right? And I think we need a lot more understanding about all this new technology to prepare the next generation of cybersecurity professionals to make sure that they have the necessary skill set and resources to protect all these autonomous machines and medical devices, right, that we're going to deploy and connect to the internet.
So it is a connected world today. It's going to be a hyper-connected world tomorrow, and we have to be ready to protect it.
Yes.
Mr. Freddy, as always,
Thank you very much
for your
Resham.
time. It's been good to speak to you, and we hope to have you again on Data War Room Asia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.